what is very important that I hope everyone understands that although I'm an ultra extreme open water and ice swimming adventurer, and it's very unrelatable stuff, the messaging that you will take from is hugely relatable. There are so many lessons that businesses learn from my swims, and I know sometimes it's a stretch of the imagination to like, what can I learn from an ultra extreme open water and ice swimmer? But it's all about mindset, and we all know that everybody functions on a mind. We're all steered by this very, very powerful tool of ours. And what I've had to do through the stories I tell and through the adventures and some of the most hostile places I've been to, I have pushed barriers, first my own, and then eventually the barriers of humankind. And over the years, I've learned the kind of lessons of how our minds are controlling us and how we make decisions and why we make decisions, particularly in hostile situations or uncomfortable situations, how we are steered. So I've become a bit of a master of that, of understanding that, and I relay that to all businesses. And you draw the parallels yourselves in those meetings very, very easily as well as to, well, hang on, maybe that's why I was thinking like that, or why I'm turning away from a difficult decision, or why I've gone in a certain direction. It's all very eye-opening. When we don't even know that we can challenge ourselves sometimes, because I mean this mind of ours is the gateway to absolute greatness. It is super powerful, and no one ever argues when I say that, because it really is. But where I do get a bit of pushback and wide eyes, I suppose, is when I say that this gateway to greatness, this mind of ours, it's our biggest limitation, because it is designed to keep us safe. It's designed to keep you right inside that comfort zone so that we don't fail. We don't have the humiliation, the consequence, the embarrassment that comes from that. And that is absolutely normal and absolutely human. And we don't even, when we don't know that this is happening subconsciously, we also don't know that we can challenge certain decisions in difficult situations. And that is where I really excel in putting that across to people. You'll be sitting there in your office or in the audience and gobsmacked as to, hang on, I now understand why I'm making the decisions I'm making. That really comes across very, very loudly. Failure is a topic that so many speakers talk about, and I do talk about it a lot. In my challenges all the way across my career, I've had many failures, and I have learned the lessons that come with failure. But more importantly, I mean, I think everyone knows the narrative that, every successful entrepreneur has had as many or more failures and successes and all of that, and it's absolutely true. Um, However, there are two kinds of failure. There's the good kind and there's the bad kind. And the bad kind is very simple. It's the failure that you don't learn from. If you don't learn the lessons that come from that failure, if you don't go introspective, if you don't kind of acknowledge your role in it, because us as humans, we become excuse magnets. When we fail, we suck in excuses as to why it wasn't our fault, why it's so easy to find reasons why we can keep our chin up and avoid the humiliation that comes with that failure. And that's the bad kind of failure, because it's just going to repeat itself over and over. We sweep it neatly under the rug and we continue. In my case, I failed in a very, very big challenge. It put me in hospital, very nearly killed me. And I came out beating my chest, and all I did was set a bigger goal. I was embarrassed by it. And I kind of did the training, got the team together, and made it. It was really a hardcore challenge. It was harder than the one that I failed. And it took me 3 years before I found that chore, before I could actually set off. And I couldn't understand why, because everything was in place except my head. And eventually, through a very fascinating story that I tell, I realized that, hang on, I have not managed or processed that failure that I had, which was trying to swim from, where was it, Ireland to Scotland, and some really, really on a bad day. I was advised not to on the day, but I felt a little too bulletproof, and I learned some valuable lessons that day. And the day that I acknowledged it, the day that I went back and stopped blaming everybody else and the weather and all my bad luck, and actually said, what could I have done differently? Process it. Um, within weeks, I was standing on the shore of a much more daunting body of water, ready to give it a go. You know what, I have been blessed to be keynoting around the world now for just over 12 years. Literally from places like Pakistan, further in the Middle East, across Europe, a lot in the States, all over South Africa. And it's amazing for me to see that the core messaging that I deliver is absolutely universally absorbed and valuable. And I think that is a very, very important a point to make. Sometimes my jokes I need to amend wherever I am in the world a little bit. And I have to understand that Celsius and Fahrenheit and all the different scales. But what is very important that I hope everyone understands that although I'm an ultra extreme open water and ice swimming adventurer, and it's very unrelatable stuff, the messaging that you will take from is hugely relatable. That I promise you. It's not one of those wishy-washy where you're going to just clap at the end and go, well, that was nice, and I feel good about myself for 5 minutes, but I could never do that. You walk out going, wow, I can do better. And this is how I'm going to address that challenge. So it's very practical and real.